What is up everyone, JT Anime and Nerd here, bringing you all that nerdy goodness. Today in this video, I'm going to be explaining a fanfiction that I've been very keen on working on, and that's Fantasia Adventures. This fanfiction is a crossover anime slash manga that is meant to bring together the very characters and the various characters and worlds in Disney. This video is going to explain the characters, the synopsis of the first story arc, as well as a bit of the layout of how the universe works and how the Disney characters are where they are now in the universe. Now, I know what some of you guys are thinking, but the video game Kingdom Hearts is already technically an anime Disney crossover. Why would we want a ripoff? Well, while I admit that Fantasia Adventures is inspired by Kingdom Hearts, one thing Kingdom Hearts has always lacked was utilizing Disney's lore to its story, instead focusing more on its original lore. The fanfiction's universe not only fully utilizes Disney's lore from all of its movies, series, etc., but I've also added to it, to which I'll explain more about later. For any who aren't familiar with the name Fantasia, it was the name of a movie-length compilation of short films by Disney, as well as a showcase for Disney's iconic orchestral music. The name of the first movie was Fantasia, and the second was titled Fantasia 2000. So I felt that Fantasia went well with a world that combined all of Disney's universe, and so I therefore dubbed it Fantasia Adventures. First, I'll explain what exactly makes it into this universe and what doesn't. By which I mean, for instance, while this will mostly revolve around animated Disney properties, only certain live action Disney films will be accepted into this universe. For example, Pirates of the Caribbean will be present in a future story arc, but Disney Channel live action shows like Wizards of Waverly Place or Pair of Kings will not be present in this fanfiction. If anything, references to those shows will really just be placed in there for passive gags or cameos. Now, as for what specific animated properties are going to be in the story, well, don't expect too much of Disney Channel. For example, Phineas and Ferb, Gravity Falls, Amphibia, The Owl House, etc., as while they are great series, I don't find them mixing well with the story, especially when the lore of those series can very much conflict with the lore of the story of the fanfiction. So instead, the Disney Channel series that do make it into the story are either tie-in series like Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, Aladdin, and Hercules, or series that have crossed over with Disney icons. For example, Kim Possible and American Dragon Jake Long crossed over with Lilo and Stitch and Disney Channel, and DuckTales and Goofy Movie are a part of Mickey. He's pretty much all part of Mickey's overall world, so they can be included within the fanfiction. Original concepts from tie-in video games or video game versions of Disney properties will also be featured in this fanfiction's universe, like Anubis from the Aladdin video game, but will more likely be reintroduced than actually being canon. Now I'll briefly explain the synopsis of Fantasia Adventures. This story takes place within the Disney universe and revolves around an original character alongside a group of iconic Disney characters that get caught up in a cosmic crisis, and so have to go around the world aiding other Disney characters from being brought down by an ancient evil. I'm not gonna lie, this involves a lot of time manipulation, as not every character in Disney's Rogues Gallery would have even been alive at the same time as the other Disney characters and eras. Now let's talk about the characters. Our main team of heroes only he has one original character at the beginning of the story, but that will change as the story continues. First, let's talk about our main character, Jack Hawkins. His true backstory remains a mystery, but Jack was found as a toddler stranded and unconscious in the middle of the wastelands within the planet of Montresor, and was therefore adopted by the Hawkins family after he was found, and raised alongside his adoptive big brother, James Pleiades Hawkins, aka Jim Hawkins, who is currently a commander of the Terran Empire, a governing force within the Gamma Quadrant. Jack possesses a warrior sense of justice. He seeks to be a hero in his own right and will never hesitate to put his life on the line in order to protect the people he cares about. Basically, your typical shonen anime protagonist. Jack's design would be inspired as a mix between Haru Glory from Rave Master in terms of clothing and hairstyle, and Asta from Black Clover in terms of physical physique and personality. Jack possesses white hair, as white as Dante, Virgil, and Nero from the Devil May Cry series. Jack is very proficient in swordplay. as was taught to him by his elder brother Jim, but strangely prefers to wield a two-handed greatsword. Much to his surprise, however, Jack would be chosen to wield the legendary magical sword Excalibur, granting him the ability to use magic, and utilizing a fighting style known as the spell sword. Jack's signature technique Excalibur rises up to becoming an incredibly destructive technique to those on the other end of Excalibur's blade. With training, Jack begins to master elemental magic, but strangely enough, his ice magic seems to be stronger than typical ice magic, as well as being stronger than any of the other elements within his arsenal of magic. Aside from Excalibur's power, Jack seems to possess an inherent superhuman abilities, as he continues his training to wield Excalibur, becoming stronger than any regular person, making one question if he was even human or not. Now let's get into the Disney characters joining Jack on his adventures. Disney fans who are watching this video pretty much don't need an explanation of their backstories, since many of them have already watched either all of the movies or series, so I'll focus more on hinting on where their character development has been and where it is going as the story continues forward. First, let's begin with Mickey Mouse, whose personality is pretty much the same as he is in Kingdom Hearts, to where he's cheerful and friendly but also vigilant and fierce when he needs to be. Mickey is the familiar of the main character Jack, and hails from the familiar realm, acting as the most knowledgeable one of the group. Mickey is proficient in star magic, as was taught to him by his teacher Yen Sid the sorcerer, making Mickey one of the most powerful members of the main group of heroes that's dubbed the Centurion Crew. For years, Mickey's been trying to work hard on becoming as great of a sorcerer as Master Yen Sid, but feels inadequate due to his insecurities. But at the end of the day, Mickey will always be there for his friends and will risk life and limb to protect and save them. Now let's move on to Buzz Lightyear, a hero and space ranger of Star Command. He has protected the Gamma Quadrant for many years, but still has yet to defeat his arch nemesis, the evil Emperor Zurg. Lightyear is the perfect example of what it is to be a space ranger, and is considered the next in line to becoming commander of Star Command. However, despite being an adamant follower of the law and rules, the more Lightyear begins to learn about the inner corruption within the system of law throughout the universe, the more he questions what it truly means to be a space ranger. Buzz, of course, is an avid follower of the law, but will resort to breaking it should the law conflict with his sense of morality, which in truth tears him apart mentally bit by bit. Buzz's fighting style consists of multiple martial arts, but mainly utilizes his Space Ranger suit's abilities to defeat his enemies, such as his laser, jet wings, and the anti-gravity servos within his new utility belt. However, that would pale in comparison to his suit's newest power, as it became enchanted to deal with mystical threats, allowing him to utilize magical energy to put into his attacks. Now let's go over Stitch, Jack's pet and best friend that he's known since childhood on Montresor. Not much is known about Stitch's past, only that he was found by Jack in the wastelands of Montresor, and both formed a bond of friendship that would last for eternity. Together, Jack and Stitch would dedicate themselves to each other, as well as dedicate themselves to training in order to become great heroes one day, with Jack never truly knowing Stitch's inner torment. Stitch's personality is very childlike and joyful, but due to his hidden emotional torment, and he knows how to hide his true emotions, being able to put on a fake smile whenever his mind focuses too much on his sad memories. Stitch's fighting style is mostly wild and chaotic. While he does rely on 4 plasma blasters, his true strength comes from his own abilities. Stitch was created by Dr. Jumba Jukiba to become a living weapon of mass destruction. In truth, who knows how much Stitch is truly capable of at his fullest potential. Now let's move on to Raya of Kumandra, a girl who hails from a once divided nation who is still trying to learn to trust others, especially in a world not of her own. Raya is loyal but very distrusting, as the events that occurred in her story have left scars on her heart, making her afraid to trust anyone new in an attempt to avoid the pain of being betrayed again. Raya's fighting style is inherently the Heart style, a style of martial arts native to the Heart clan of Kumandra. Raya also possesses a chain sword that's now been enchanted with dragon scales, allowing Raya to control all the direction of the sword via the wind. Now we move on to Sisu, the Kumandran dragon. Sisu is a dragon that hails from Kumandra, but prefers to live life in human form in order to kick back and relax from her duties as a dragon. Sisu is very trustful and cheery, but is known to be too trusting for her own good, to the point where he always gets taken advantage of. Either way, Sisu would rather die trusting someone than live never trusting anyone at all, creating a slight conflict of ideals between her and her best friend Raya. But at the end of the day, their friendship never ceases to be severed. Sisu's fighting style consists of various magics mixed with martial arts, similar to how fighting works for element benders in Avatar The Last Airbender. Now we get to the last member of the Centurion crew that can handle one-on-one fights, and that's Maui, the demigod of the wind and sea. Maui possesses a sort of egotistical personality, but will always stick his neck out for someone in need. Maui travels throughout primordial oceans in order to protect the islands within them from monsters and natural disasters. Maui, however, fears of being unneeded, as being a hero is all he knows how to do and is not sure where his life will go should he never be needed again. Maui's fighting style mainly consists of him wielding a magic fish hook that grants him the ability to shapeshift into animals and possess their abilities. However, the magic fish hook would now have broken its limitation on what forms Maui can take, and allow him to be able to transform into a werebeast, a special magical ability known as canthropy. With each new transformation, Maui creates a new fighting style based on the werebeast's animal abilities, such as his were-cheetah form's super speed, allowing him to reach speeds beyond superhuman capabilities. Now, there are two more members of the Centurion crew, the captain and the navigator, but I'm going to leave those characters as a surprise, as I'm sure that someone from the early 2000s will appreciate who are fans of Disney will appreciate the surprise. Now I'm going to get into a bit of the first story arc, which will introduce our main character and reintroduce Disney characters. While this is a bit of a spoiler, I'm at least going to throw you guys a bone and reveal to you guys that this arc actually begins with Zurg and his second in command warp dark matter from Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, as they trigger a destined chain of events that cause a cosmic anomaly within the universe, and end up creating a version of Earth made from pieces of the past, present, and future of their universe. This would also fall in line with Jack's destiny of being chosen by the legendary sword Excalibur. In this arc that I dubbed the Centurion Breakout arc, our heroes are going to band together to break out a much needed person out of the prison planet known as PC-7. This fanfiction anime slash manga will be treated like a typical shonen anime slash manga, and not have any musical numbers as I'm not the best at writing songs or comedy. So this fanfiction will focus mainly on the story and action, but I'll do my best to try and find a way to place in that kind-hearted Disney flair. I am truly excited for this fanfiction, and if ever I get the chance to turn it into a full-fledged manga, non-profit of course, I am going to go for it. That is, if there aren't any copyright issues and I can find an artist I can afford. Speaking of which, the art style I would envision for manga slash anime of this is in the style of Hiro Mashima, the author of Fairy Tail and Eden Zero. Also, as strange as this is going to sound, I actually would want to structure this story similarly to how One Piece's story is structured, where there are many events happening throughout the world that affect it in tremendous ways, have certain characters be built up to be big contenders for an upcoming battle, and even to ease bigger events on the horizon. And I know that it seems overly ambitious for a project like this, especially because it's a Disney-based project, but that's what I envision in this story being like, just not as long as One Piece is. I also want to make clear that I am not Ichiro Oda, so I know I could never write as incredibly as he can. So I'm just planning to go at this story as best as I can and hope that you all love it. If you guys like this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and put down in the comments below on what you think about this video and the topics discussed in it. With all that said and done, I'm JT Anime, and I'll check you guys later.